Hello, everybody, and welcome to Curse of Strahd. Let's get announcements. What are the announcements?
We literally
of course,
just-
We literally just said it like 5 seconds ago.
my mind went totally blank in that moment. But of course, this Sunday is the continuation of Campaign 3, and of course, a week from today is the continuation of the Alien Longshot, GM'd by JMO, of course. And Discord, Charmed Family, come join the Discord. You can see behind the scenes chat and pictures of family members' dogs. It's very fun and nice.
Not our dogs, our family members' dogs.
And
Very
that's it.
niche Discord.
Let's play some music here.
Yeah, let's.
But
It's weird seeing this. The stream can't see it because that'd be too hard to show you, but we're seeing a
it's
graveyard of
wild.
every token we've seen in this campaign.
Yeah. Okay. We start directly in the aftermath of the battle in the catacombs with Vampire.
Oh, shit.
Petra, you took the shard of amber, and with the help of Oz and the weirdos on one side, keeping the ritual sigils alight, and Proximus and Arabelle and Pitawick and an army of zombies and skeletons on the other side, keeping them alight, you completed the ritual and bound Vampire once more back into its amber prison. And in that moment, you had a voice in your head that you have heard, of course, many times before, of Bathsheba. She gave you the chance to say aloud in this moment, now that the seat of power in Barovia has been vacated from Vampire's imprisonment, to say aloud the next heir. And Bathsheba told you to say her name, otherwise you would be forgotten. And you thought about it and said your own name. And you're sitting in Strahd's tomb. It's like a mausoleum, essentially, with next to Ismark and Tom and Irina, who has recently been resurrected, although is in a revenant undead form. And Petra, you realize that this is it. You're fading away. Bathsheba, you can hear Bathsheba's scream kind of distantly in the back of your mind. She's cast away, taking you with her. In this moment, you look at Ismark and the rest, and you realize that you have a few seconds. What do you do?
we did it, Petra.
In this moment, feeling more whole than I have in a minute, having satisfied my revenant urge to destroy Strahd, having taken this one last step to help my friends. I think I do look to Ismark and I smile, feeling a sense of humanity for one last moment. And I think I say to him, I'm giving it back. And I think in that moment I would begin to dissolve.
You vanish, as if you were never there. Where you stood, the dust is undisturbed, there's no footsteps. Ismark, you see this happen, and there's this moments where you kind of cry out, Petra, what happened to Petra? But then her name, when you try to speak it, catches on your tongue. You try to remember who performed the ritual. You see the slab of amber at your feet. You try to remember who stood at the center of it all, but nothing comes to mind. Except there is something gnawing at the back of your mind. You do remember that someone was there. Someone mattered. Someone chose. The rest of you, in your scattered to the tombs of Strahd's parents and his brother, the sigils go out, which might be shocking in this moment. But there is a calmness to the air, kind of lightness. What do you all do?
Well, I last left with, like, stabilizing Arabelle, who had gone unconscious, so I'd be trying to get her
Okay.
back up.
She, after a little bit, kind of comes to with 1 health.
Hello. You are alive. Please tell me you are alive and not super dead.
I'm alive. I'm not super dead. Thank you
Oh,
so
goodness.
much.
Thank goodness.
That really hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Did you saved me? You saved my life.
I did okay. I actually didn't get hurt at all. I think it's over.
It's over?
It feels over. There's nothing, no imminent death peril that I can see. Pedowek, is the coast clear?
You see Piddlewick has, like, ventured out into the catacombs, like, main hallway. And then you see him poke his head back out, and he motioned for you to come with him, and he toddles off into the darkness.
Careful, I'll, like, carefully, like, gently help Arabelle up. Should probably go join the others, but we did it.
Arabelle takes a deep breath and kind of squeezes your hand, and you can see that she's overcome with emotion. And it looks like she's about to say something, but just doesn't, and continues with her.
You should be super proud of yourself. Like, I'm always proud of you.
Thank you. I needed that. I'm proud of you, too, Proxy.
Thank you. I did a really good job.
You did do a really good job. She grasps your hand. Oz, you're sitting in your tomb, and you see next to you Otto, Siegfried, Cyrus. They're all badly hurt and injured, but all 3 are alive. And Siegfried comes up and goes, "That was fun."
I think that, like, Oz is just standing there, like, breathing after a big musical break moment, like, like, just like, because the Misfits, he pushed them aside and was kind of like doing a last stand there for a minute, so he's looking pretty hurt, but he's still standing. He has 3 hit points left. That's crazy. I think that he is going to use his bonus action to
Second wind.
Second wind, yes, thank you. And just takes a deep breath doing that. And he looks at Siegfried was the one that came up.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. And he said, "Hell yeah, it was. I think we're done. I actually think we fucking did it. Is everyone all right?"
You see Cyrus looks at you and tries to speak, but has cut out his tongue.
Yeah.
And but they all howl into the sky. The rest of you can hear their howls reverberate around the room.
I join them for sure in the howling, and then make my way to where I know the main ritual to have been happening.
You meet all together.
Do I still have my temp HP even though Petra is forgotten? Does that go away?
No, that doesn't go away.
Cool. All right,
Petra's forgotten.
Oh, this is a really beautiful twilighty area. Did you do this, Ismark?
Now I don't know where this came from.
It's really beautiful.
Did we do it?
I think we did it.
Hello, did we do it? Yes.
Who was in here with you?
Irina and
Tom?
And I think that's it.
No,
Is Tom alive?
With the amber. With who had the?
I mean, somebody must have. I don't know. The amber's right there, right? The amber's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's right. Maybe.
Should we do something about that?
Oz picks it up and hands it to Ismark. I think you should be the one to handle that.
Yeah. I'll put it in a bag for now. I'm gonna lock it away somewhere, but
I trust whatever you were to do with it.
Yeah.
Tom steps up to all of you and he says, "How am I still alive?
I don't know.
I can't believe it."
Actually, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. You speak.
Because Tom, you're strong and you're good enough, and I trained you well. Really, is what it comes down to.
Well, okay.
Oh, you're the best trainer a librarian could ask for.
I think I actually might be.
Tom looks very proud of himself in a way that he might not have been in a while.
I want to lift Tom up and like toss him in the air. Like,
He goes, "Yay!" and then like
That was
awkwardly lands. And he's like, "Oh, my back."
sorry. And then Ismark almost collapses because I'm at 1 HP.
Oh, goodness.
Irina comes up to you. She is... her skin is pale. Her breath is faint. You can tell, Ismark, you don't have to be a cleric or into necromancy to kind of understand what's happening here. Although this is, of course, the first revenant that you have come across. Although outside there was some revenants at
Petra kind of a revenant?
Well, yeah, but I don't know if you know.
Oh, you're right. Fuck, I forgot. I forgot that I forgot Petra.
Irina, you can see that the fire that kept her moving as a revenant, the purpose that kind of pulled her from death, has faded. And there is like a moment of humanity to her in this moment, and she kneels down to you and puts her hand on your shoulder as you're kind of on the ground, breathing heavily, Ismark, from your very, very bad injuries. And she says, "You always said you'd find me, Ismark, and you did.
I never stopped looking.
After everything, you found me. I am not supposed to come back. Not like this. But seeing you, being here with you and here in Triumph, I remember who I was." She grabs your hands. Live, Ismark. Live for the both of us. She gives you a smile.
I will. I will, Irina. Could we go outside? Could you hold on? Could we go outside? Could we go upstairs?
Yeah.
I'll try to get everybody upstairs and get Irina outside as quickly as I can.
As you kind of scurry back up the stairs to the main
I'll lift
floor,
her so she doesn't have to use any energy.
And I'll lift them.
That's beautiful. As you get up to the main floor and you step onto the cold stone halls right into the main entryway, you can hear the first groan of ancient rock pulling away from itself. The castle begins to collapse, but
Oh shit.
not in fire or fury, but in release, like something exhaling. You realize that it's not crumbling to crush you, but just kind of slowly giving way. And you make your way to the courtyard of the castle. And it is no longer raining out here. It is, in fact, sunny. The clouds have retreated just enough, and there's a small sliver of sun that bathes your face. Real warmth has come to the valley again.
Holy shit.
Is that the sun?
I think so.
It is.
Yeah, it really hurts my
He's
eyes.
never seen the sun.
I think Ismark will like sit down and put his hand or
I feel like I shouldn't be looking at it.
Hurts
Arm around
everything
Irina.
about myself.
and just look up at the sun and just kind of, we did it. And then whatever happened.
You stare, looking at the sun. She nods and says, I always knew that we would. A beautiful day for our homeland.
First one in a long time.
The weirdos howl and bat their eyes against the sun and immediately dart into some shadows. But they seem happy. Cyrus, of course, was here in the castle for many years as a kind of steward to Strahd, and seems kind of overcome with emotion. Arabelle puts her arm around you, Proximus, and she says, well, I think this is the best day of my life.
The first day of the rest of our lives.
The first day of the rest of our lives. And you too, little Piddlewick. She kind of puts his her hands.
I do like Lion King with Fiddlewick.
Piddlewick puts his hands out to bask into the sun. And we cut. Oh, yes. Oz.
Real quick, the castle is actively crumbling, right?
Yeah.
I think just like as we're all standing there and taking in the sun, Oz just kind of takes a step back towards the castle, and as the castle continues to crumble, he takes out both of his guns from the holsters and just one by one tosses them into the open door of the castle and lets the castle crumble on top of them. That's all.
The castle immediately, as if responding to this, the entryway crumbles and no longer access to the main hall. We now cut to 1 year later. I'm gonna go to the three of you, and I want to know what you think you have been doing in this year. Have you stayed in Barovia? What does Barovia look like even now that it has rejoined the world? And let's start with Ismark. What is Ismark doing?
Ismark probably runs for Burgomaster again. Comes back into town, and I don't think he leaves Barovia unless he has to maybe set up a trade with another town or something like that. But I think he just stays in Barovia and tries to help rebuild for that whole year as much as he can.
You go back to your hometown, the village of Barovia, now free from the gargoyle that would set right above it, the castle. You run for Burgomaster, and
Tom is my campaign manager.
Tom is happy to do this. He is very enthusiastic, and he is canvassing all around, including outside into bigger towns and cities along the trail. You win in a landslide because you are honored here. You are a hero, a folk legend. It's people come to you every day and thank you for what you did. There is a kind of normality to life that has happened, which you have never experienced ever before.
Right.
Tom goes back and opens up his library in town and writes a book that he releases. And it's called How to Get Big, The Ballad of Ismark the Brave. And
Incredible.
it's all about his stories from his time with you, and it is because of a large part of this book that has fueled your kind of legend in town. What do you think Ismark would do with the rest of his life? Would he stay here in the village? Would he lead as the burgomaster?
Yeah, he would stay here and just try to be a humble public servant for the rest of his life and try to use his skills to connect Barovia to the rest of the world and try to maybe bring some modernization to the town. And yeah, I think Tom would be his right hand all the way through, his top advisor. But yeah, I don't think he would really leave the Barovia unless he had to. So there's a lot of work here to do. I am 15 years younger, so I do have more time to work now. So I'm like 21, but yeah, however long it takes, he would keep on running for burgomaster until the day he died.
Amazing. The village of Barovia becomes a kind of way stop along the road. It's built up, and it is a kind of a place of refuge for a lot of people, not just from Barovia, but from other places where it has become welcoming. You're about a year after your time in the castle, you get notice that Yevgeny has passed away in his sleep. And
feel bad. That was the number one way he didn't want to go.
Yara comes up to you one day while you're in your burgomaster house. She just kind of barges in. No one does that. You're the burgomaster, but she's older and knows you and barges in. She says, the old coot finally did it.
Kick the bucket.
He kicked the bucket. I told him if he fell asleep, he wasn't looking so good, he'd probably die in his sleep. And he said, typical Yevgeny. He said, fuck off.
Yeah, that seems like the most Yevgeny thing that he could have done.
Yeah.
How are you holding up?
I am sad, but it's okay.
Well, the name Yevgeny will not be forgotten, or Yara, anytime soon. So.
Oh, that's good. Now, how are you eating in here? You cooking for yourself? I know Tom sure as hell ain't cooking.
I think we got some people working on that. I don't know my way around the stove. You know that. You cooked for me all the years that we were together.
Okay, well, if you need me, I'll be out in the woods.
I mean, there's a place here if you wanted to join my cabinet, so to speak.
I appreciate that, but I think I need to process some things. I'm getting to end my own road, so.
All right. Door's always open.
Well, thank you. Tom says, I am so sorry about Yevgeny. Yara, I was gonna get him flowers, roses, is that good? And she says, don't get him flowers. He walks out. And Tom looks to you and he says, well, Ismark, I can definitively say for the first time in my life that I am proud of who I am.
I've always been proud of you,
I would
Tom.
never have got there without you.
I mean, that's probably true, but I only, put some shine on what was already there. You always had it in you. I just brought it out. It was always there.
And I want to ask you something that's kind of personal, if that's okay.
Absolutely not, Tom. What are you doing? We're not that
Oh,
close. No,
yeah.
of course, Tom. What the fuck?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
what are you
yeah.
asking away?
He was like on his way walking out the door when you said that. He said, "Oh yeah, you know Lily in town? She's pretty cool.
Yeah,
We've been like hanging out.
yeah, I've seen you with Lily.
I want you to be the best man in our wedding. I asked her out. I asked her to marry me couple days ago. I didn't know how to do it. I was so nervous. What?
I've had a lot of honors in my life, as you know, but to be called your best man would be the greatest honor of my life.
He gives you a big hug and is kind of sobbing into your shoulder.
I'll throw him up like a pizza again. I'll toss him in there.
He clatters awkwardly against a counter.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Hurts his back.
I'm just excited. I haven't fought in a while. I don't know my own strength anymore.
Proximus. What do you think Proximus has been doing in a year since the end of Barovia's curse?
I think he's very excited at the notion of an entire world opening up before him. I think he is very excited to learn all about Faerun. And I think pretty quickly he finds a group of like-minded people and joins a place called Circus of the Last Days with Piddlewick.
Nice.
And is extremely happy touring the different planes of existence with Ian Piddlewick's double act. Hopefully, maybe Arabelle would come with them, but he, he's also aware that this is a new world opening up for Arabelle, so he's totally fine with them going separate ways. But yeah, I think he lives a very silly but very uncomplicated existence, never aging, never needing to eat, or just kind of continuing on and just really enjoying every little minute detail of life.
The Circus of the Last Days becomes a kind of a must-see attraction that as it rolls through towns, not just in Faerun, but of course, like you said, there are times when you have performed in the Underdark, in the Feywild. Your adventures in Barovia are just the beginning of a life full of wonder and whimsy and making people laugh. Piddlewick there with you the entire time. He, at one point in your journey with the circus, kind of becomes like a circus master and begins kind of like giving shows up top and leading people to their seats and getting money from people, and it's kind of become the face of the circus. And people are always going to see the doll and the boy that become horrific entities in a way that's fun for the whole family. Arabelle would not necessarily join the circus act, but she, at least in the beginning, would come with you where you go. Of course, she is a Vistani, and so she's used to a kind of nomadic lifestyle, even if most of it might have been confined within Barovia. I think after maybe like you have established your act in the circus as a really kind of big deal, and you're really getting like settled in and kind of becoming like known. One time right before you're about to come out, you can hear you're in Neverwinter. It's a big gig for you in the big town, the big city. You can hear the buzz of the people outside as you're back.
We're trying out ice skating for the first time. It's really exciting.
Piddlewick has one ice skate on, and the other one he's using as like a weapon, and he's trying to like punch things.
Hey! No, we can't do that.
Arabelle looks to you, Proximus, and she says, Proxy?
Yes.
Can I say something to you really quick?
Of course. You know you can always talk to me. Is everything all right?
Yes, of course it is. It is all right, but there's something that's been kind of gnawing at the back of my mind. I looked for my father Luvash for a while, but I could not find him.
Right.
But there is someone else that I want to see, an old friend. So I'm going to probably leave for a while, if that's okay.
Of course.
But I will come back because, of course, Proximus, you mean the world to me.
Take however long you need. Trust me, I think I'm a little bit past having a babysitter by now.
She nods, and then she takes out the Taroka card deck from her pocket. She says, "These cards help me see things that other people cannot. But I don't think I want that burden anymore. So," and she holds them in her hand.
I will take them, hug her. You should know, no card predicting the future could ever live up to your expectations of yourself. You are extraordinary. I wish you the best of luck.
She gives you a big hug back, and she grabs Piddlewick to get a 3-person hug. And she says, You are so kind and nice, Proximus, and I cannot tell you how proud it makes me to see you up there on stage and people loving you, because you deserve to have people love you.
Yes, I do. But so do you. Go. I'm a very capable, well, undead person.
Well, you seem very alive to me. She leaves. Oz. What do you think Oz has gotten up to?
I think Oz, when he leaves the castle that day, returns back to the village of Barovia to find Francesca, who he asked to wait for him.
Yep.
And I think a year later, if the burgomaster will allow it, they have started Esmeralda's Home for Misfits, where they and all of the what do we call them? The
weirdos.
Yeah, the weirdos. But you call them
the mongrel folk.
Mongrels.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Where they all live, but we also it's also kind of like a pseudo orphanage, foster home.
I think Ismark is one of your biggest donors.
Yeah, amazing. And I think that Oz really thinks that Ismark became, whether Ismark thinks this way or not, Oz thinks that him and Ismark became good friends, and so I think that Oz definitely helps Ismark whenever he can, and I also think that he asks Proxy and Piddlewick to do their show for all the kids and stuff whenever they come through Barovia. And then I also think every once in a while, if Proxy would allow, Francesca and Oz would be their groupies and just kind of follow them for a stint to do some traveling themselves.
She can totally come for free. You do have to pay admission at a certain point.
I assumed. Would just leave the mongrels in charge, which the kids always loved when that got to happen because they would be able to do whatever they want. But I would ask Ismark to check in every once in a while. And so yeah, I think that he swears off violence. I think that I think that the corruption of Barovia also really seeped its way into the people of Barovia, and I think that a part of Oz was healed as well when all of that happened. And then two more things that I want to make sure that I do. I forget his name, and I tried looking through my notes. The Dusk Elf who we rescued,
lost his soul.
Who lost his soul? Yeah.
Casimir. Yes.
Casimir. Thank you. I think that Oz would seek out Casimir and bring him back to the home, and like give him a place at the home of Misfits. But I think that he wouldn't really ever interact with the Dusk Elf community again, and would distance himself from them. If he ran into any of them outside of the community, he'd be cordial, but he does not actively seek any communication with them. And then the last thing, especially because Oz is a tinkerer and he has to give himself a project and something to do, I think something really eats at him. Petra literally multiple times, not just at the end, but also specifically for Oz, sacrificed like her soul for Oz. And so I think that it makes sense narratively that it eats at him just a little bit more, that hole, that nagging, like who was there, who was the emperor. And so I think just outside of the home of Misfits, or maybe even if I bet Ismark's cool with him, maybe somewhere like in the center.
I had a similar idea, but we're going in the same spot.
Yeah, somewhere in the center of Barovia, build a statue to who Oz would call the Forgotten One, and like make it like a statue and a shrine to the Forgotten One, and like make sure that they were known as like a critical piece of like what happened to Strahd, is where I was thinking. What were you?
I had a similar idea where I was thinking it could be like Ismark wouldn't go about this directly, but maybe influence Tom to build it, but a statue of the three of us, but there's like an open spot. There's like something missing, so something similar, but yeah.
And I think what is there, like in that spot, is just the piece of amber, like the carved piece of amber, like not the actual piece of amber, but the carved piece of amber. Yeah, and yeah, I think that that's Oz's immediate life. Yeah.
Your mongrel folk orphanage is kind of a hit, so to speak, as an orphanage can go.
Yeah.
The Siegfried and Otto are kind of chaotic. They're chaotic. They've turned into chaotic good, essentially.
Yeah.
They're trying their hardest to be helpful to these kids, but they're making things fun as well. You see Cloven Bellevue, who has the two heads, moves back into the Abbey and just kind of like lives there by himself and offers you a place for even if momentary refuge. He kind of becomes monastic. You at one point travel to the Dusk Elf village and you see Casimir there. The Dusk Elves are few of number. There are maybe 30 of them left, and they have circled their wagons. None of them have really moved into towns, even though they could potentially, but they chose to kind of stay insular within their own community.
Yeah.
You see Casimir just sitting there amongst a bunch of other people, like kind of eating and telling stories, but just sitting there.
Yeah. Oz arrives on Fanghorn, who remains his steed for many years.
Yes.
Probably outlives Oz.
yeah, probably. Every once in a while, Ismark and Oz go out with Fanghorn, get drunk, and call out some chimps to try to find. We're still to this day looking for the chimp in the bowler hat, and he has not returned.
Yeah, you keep calling for chimps, but then dog-sized rabbits appear.
The reward for the chimp in the bowler hat goes up like so high every year. Like Ismark is just pouring more and more money into it if anybody finds it.
It's the one thing that we like. That's like that's like not good that you do. Yeah, and I think that. So anyway, I arrive and I I think he's taking it all in, and he just rudely basically goes right up to Casimir in the middle of this like dinner. Casimir, do you feel home here?
He looks to you, but doesn't say anything. But stands up and just kind of stands next to you. And you see Archon, the leader, who you've had a couple of tense interactions with before, notices that you've come, and he says, Oswald, it is so good to see you. I have heard tale of your deeds in the castle. You are a hero. Please, you have made the name of the Dusk Elves ring throughout the lands. Please come join us back in our settlements. You will be a hero, a leader.
I kind of nod. And then the one thing that has kept with Oz, especially now that the sun is out often and he's still a dusk elf, is he still has those sunglasses. And he lifts up the sunglasses and he looks over and he smiles. And he points up a finger gun and just goes. And then he just walks away. Come on, Casimir.
Casimir follows. Archon goes, wait, what? Casimir!
And then
Casimir!
I look at Fangorn and just like nod.
Fangor nods, and as you walk away, Fangor goes back towards the Dusk Elf camp. You don't know what happened, but Casimir just walks back with you, and on your way back, you can tell, obviously, that he's not all there. He has lost his soul. At one point, looks to you and says, "You going home?"
No, we are.
He nods and just follows you back to town.
I think that because he doesn't have a soul, but I think that I don't know. I think that Oz really pities him, and so he just gives him like menial tasks around the house to do, and just like hopes that seeing like young life is somewhat of affects him in some way or something like that. I don't know, but I think he knows how the Dusk Elf people can be, and I think he just knows that at least here he's taken care of.
All right. You see Casimir just kind of like sitting in amongst the people, and Oz, your life has been complicated, of course. It has been filled a lot of times with violence and revenge, and of hurting people and seeking to hurt people. But your guns are gone. Francesca sits with you in this moment, a little bit after when you maybe a year after you bring Casimir back. She's been with you this entire time. She is, of course, a human missing an eye, but is, you can tell that she also feels, like she's kind of sharing this renaissance, so to speak. And you look over one day at Casimir, and he's like running around playing tag with some kids. You've never seen him do that. He's infantile, but there's a spark to him again. And it's maybe nice to see a positive impact that you have had on someone, at least for now.
I think just watching that, he like puts an arm around Francesca, and he says, "Thank you. I don't think I ever thanked you."
You haven't, but that's okay. I appreciate it. You, this orphanage. I can't believe it. It's like working.
Yeah,
The weirdos are doing a good job.
they are. Esmeralda would absolutely hate that a place with this much joy was named after her.
Esmeralda sounds like a interesting woman.
She was. But other than her, there was one other person that stuck by me. And that was you. So thank you for waiting.
Thank you for showing me that it doesn't matter if you're perceived as an outcast or you don't get to be with the people that you think you are going to be with, because it's okay to find your own people.
Yeah, it is. And I think we found our people.
We cut to a city pretty far away in a kind of very nicely appointed bedchamber with satin sheets and gold trimmed walls and balconies and beautiful paintings on the walls. It's a early morning sunrise peeking in through the veranda into the beautiful bedroom, and there's a knock on the door. Teddy, what do you think Teddy is doing in this moment, many years even after your visit with Luvash?
It's early morning. I think probably still asleep. Probably still in bed with his husband. I think just rolls over. You know, they're not allowed to wake us before a certain hour.
I hate rolling in the morning.
Who is it?
The door kind of cracks open. You see one of the kind of attendees of the royal hall motions, and you see a person that you recognize to be Arabelle. In her early 20s now. You have not seen her since she was a child. She stands on the other side of the room, and she says, "Don't tell me that's Richard Charming."
Holy shit. I get up quickly, get dressed. Oh my god.
I'm here.
You're... Hi.
Hey. Faldir says, Teddy, do you know this woman?
Arabelle. This is Arabelle.
I have heard many great things about you. I guess, you know, in my head you're a lot younger, but I guess that's how time works. You've grown up. She says, "Yep, I'm all grown up now."
How are you here?
Well, we did it. The curse is broken.
You mean...
Well, me and a bunch of other people that you probably don't know, but I'm also including you in that we. Because don't you forget that without you, there would be no Volaki, there would be nothing that I would have been dead probably.
For one, that's possible. Nothing can stop you. Two, you. People I don't know that, the last I was aware, I had made a deal that I would leave and my friends would be spared. You don't have to say it. Should have known that even years later, that place would still find some way to hurt me.
Yes. But I don't know. I think I've got this friend that I think that you would be pretty good friends with. I know you're in like a pretty good place here, you know.
Yes.
Here, like up in this tower, but if you ever want to come hang out with me and my friends, we have a traveling circus together and I think would be pretty fun. Just an invite. Because I want to hang out with you again.
Do think we are needing some entertainment booked for the fall festivities.
Yeah, I love entertainment. She goes, well, that's good. All right.
What are you doing? Where are you staying? Obviously, you can stay here with us.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. I was about to dramatically leave, but
no,
if you
please
give me a place,
don't.
I will definitely stay here. Okay, I've got.
There's a certain small child that I may have told I may want to introduce you to someone.
Interesting. Faldir kind of walks over to the window and looks out over the city. And it turns back to you. He says, Teddy, I think you should go with Arabelle. I probably should stay here. But
something up with him?
He seems no, not really. He seems like he's a little bit he's happy for you in this moment, but doesn't want to like get in the way of your memories of the past.
I'll just walk over to him, squeeze his hand. See me later, right? We have a big day.
He gives you a peck on the cheek. Arabelle goes, get the room.
This is our room.
Oh, of course. She laughs. She takes you by the hand, Teddy. All right, let's have just a little bit more adventure.
If His Majesty approves.
Nods. And you head off. We see the land, now Barovia back inside, has kind of reclaimed it. It's as if Barovia had never been gone. The tribute to Petra, although forgotten, lingers. You can feel there's a restless soul woven into the very soil. The Morning Lord clergy have a tradition. They light candles for the nameless ones who stood for Barovia. Petra's legacy lives on, not through memory, but through impact. The people she saved begin to prosper. The land begins to heal. And Petra. Although Petra has been erased from the memory of the world, there is something greater than memory. Meaning. Petra cast her life away to stand against Bathsheba, seal vampire, and she's now erased. But Petra still existed. Petra still mattered, and somewhere Petra remains. So what do you think Petra experienced after she vanished? Where did she go, if anywhere? What became of her soul? What became of her identity? What became of her peace?
I think that Petra's ultimate demise was the ending that she was not expecting, but almost hoping for this whole time. To play a bigger, small part in a bigger salvation for Barovia. That she never expected to live. I've said this a bunch of times. She, having been a revenant with her goal being to destroy Strahd, her time on this plane was going to end when that sort of ceased to happen. I think within the lore of Barovia, it being a pocket dimension, the Petra's soul for the 10 years since she had died was stuck in this gray, shadowy, rainy place and was seeking that escape. That was kind of what drove her to that ultimate goal of freeing Barovia. And while she lived, that was all she sought to do, was to try to destroy Strahd and protect as many people as she could in the process. And then once she was mindset focused as a revenant, it was to destroy Strahd to free her soul. And I think in those final moments, that burden lifting from her in accomplishing her task, knowing that she was headed towards her ultimate release and freedom from a soul trapped on this plane, to a reunion with the Morning Lord, with the god of sunlight that she worshipped out in Faerun, that whatever comes after this, it is purged at least from this trap. My hope is that in this process of saving Barovia, that she is redeemed spiritually in that moment for any corruption that she may have experienced from attaching Bathsheba to herself, and in the act of removing herself from this plane, removing Bathsheba in that same sweep, because they are tied together. That act of sacrifice, as my hope as Sophie, is that would redeem Petra in that moment and allow her to rejoin the Morning Lord and the sunlight. And I think the ultimate sort of like gift to give Petra as like a hero's welcome into that reunion with the warmth and the sun would be, as she's ascending and feeling this warmth on her soul, this direct sunlight on her for the first time, unfiltered by clouds, both metaphysical and literal, that the ascension is also met with an angel of black wings, and that her brother in faith would join her on their ascent and freedom from Barovia.
Petra, the hero of Barovia that is forgotten but not lost. There's a moment when you look down on the valley of Barovia and you remember the suffering of the people here and how awful it was. And it's not going to get better overnight now that this curse has lifted because of your actions, but at least now they have a chance. And then, as you're just kind of floating, you feel the bright sunlight on your face. A warmth that you have not felt in many, many, many years. It's like rebirth. It's like your life starting anew. And you're overcome with emotion in a way that you would not have fewer revenants. You feel yourself become whole again as you stand in the light. And as you squint to look through to try to understand what is happening, you just see a hand reach out and pull you through. The tips of black wings. And you ascend. And that is where we're going to end the campaign.
Yay, Matt!
Yay, Matt! Absolutely amazing,
Wow.
my friend.
All right.
Touching.
Okay, we
We did it!
Just
Wow.
gonna do a quick like talk back. I think that would be fun. It doesn't have to be that long, but I think I got some questions and
I also think it'll be fun, Matt.
I also have some questions for you, Matt.
I'm gonna start because I am curious about this. Obviously there was the TPK that happened to me, but I'm gonna focus on your first player characters, like the first ones you made, because I kind of gave you a prompt a little bit when making the character that I was here. I'll read exactly the prompt I said. This is a world that really focuses on the vulnerable, the kind of people who are in need of redemption. Think about past tragedies, lingering regrets, impossible goals that your character might have. Think about what your character is afraid of and how they react to being frightened. So I'm curious, what made you choose your initial character? What class, and how did that prompt kind of impact how you created the character? Let's start with Michael.
I think, God, it feels like it's been so long ago. It's kind of hard to remember, like, initial inceptions, but I think I had been wanting to play someone who, I liked the idea of someone that's like, their backstory is a complete bullshit and they're actually someone else for a while, which is why we started with Richard Charming and then eventually got revealed into Teddy Granger. And so I just really liked that idea of someone who has created this very crafted image of themselves, and it's a complete fabrication as to who they truly are. And I think that goes really well with the rogue class. Also at the time, God, this is how long ago it was been. We were wrapping up campaign 2, and I had like included bits and pieces of like hints for Teddy in like the character of Achilles, and I think there was like a one-shot character that I was also doing this for. Like there's connections with like Oleander, and I think like there's the name Magnus also pops up in either Danny's or someone else's that has to deal with the kingdom that they're now in is called the Kingdom of Magnus. But yeah, this was something that I had thought of for a while, and I thought it went well with your prompt.
Yeah, I like that. It's like hiding from the past in a way that was I think that was fun to play with. And the reveal was great. I think the name reveal and particularly the accent reveal, that was good stuff. Nice. Okay, let's Eric.
I wanted to make a spaghetti western character, which is why he had an Italian name with a southern accent. So that was where I got kind of from. But I wanted him to be like a redeemed cultist kind of a no-name cultist who maybe got thrown on an adventure and he hurt a lot of people or caused a lot of hurt to a lot of people, and kind of where he went from there is my initial thought.
Yes, your cult backstory. I kind of moved some things around, but it fit nicely with the plot line in Vallaki with Fiona Voctor, so that was good.
Yeah.
Zach, Gabe.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play an Aasimar in a campaign, and I thought nothing fit your prompt better than the idea of like a fallen angel, which is kind of where I came up with the idea of Gabe, because there is the fallen Aasimar skin, and I just think playing a character who was searching for redemption was a it was just, I thought it would be an interesting take. I actually he was an Oath of Vengeance paladin, and was supposed to be a much more vengeful seeking guy, but then he ended up, redemption ended up being his story and ended up being his oath too.
Nice. Oh yeah. All right. The only person who did not technically change characters in the campaign, Sophie.
Yeah. Petra, I was really inspired by the Bloodborne game to make a cleric who's a monster hunter who is tainted by the act of the hunt itself, that dips a little bit into like careful what you call a monster, because you may then just name yourself. That there is necessity in some of that to bring in some like aspects of knowing your enemy, a little bit of like honestly some like gray Jedi mind thought there, and I was really intrigued to play in this world. It's one that I've DM'd before, though not as deep as we ended up going, and love vampire lore, love Dracula. And so being able to play like a Bloodborne Van Helsing, but very pious, very driven by doctrine type of person. And then it worked out so nicely that me and Zach could kind of line up on like some of our tenets were for our faith, and to play off of those things throughout the first half of the campaign when we were playing as Petra and Gabe, as somebody who got to kind of be almost more like devout, watching somebody else fall from grace or be tempted and trying to hold firm to their own beliefs, and watching them struggle was such a fun way for those characters to develop. And I'm so glad that we kind of went that route and collabed a little bit at the beginning in that way.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah, I agree. And it was cool that we both had different aspects of it, and you talked about it a little bit. I feel like in the last session, in the finale, I feel like you did mention it for some reason about this dark and light, and how you can't have light without the darkness. And it was cool to explore that. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Okay, I kind of just want to list off all my favorite moments of the campaign.
Sure.
All right, let's see. What thing that stood out to me, I loved the couple sessions in Kresk, which was you were hiding out in the burgomaster's house, and you had the great scene with Teddy and Gabe on the kitchen and sleeping bags.
That was great.
Yeah.
I
was thinking about
one
that.
night.
Yeah.
I
was thinking about that same day, because it was also that was our basically our last day, and thinking about your character now Oz wanting to protect orphans and raise orphans. Petra was an orphan who was raised in their church, and was, as we met Arabelle as a child, was trying to convert her in a very similar way that she, I think, was converted into becoming a holy warrior. And that was the first night that like we were in Crest, or the first day that we were in Crest. Before we go up the hill, I go through like a confirmation ceremony for her, and there was just all these things left as like potential that were completely derailed by the TPK, and that then we get to see how they like were picked up on, like, or not picked up on, how the world was influenced by like those tiny things that happened in our last day alive. Some of these threads that we like put in the story that ended up being like, oh, Arabelle becomes like split and like partially like a cleric of the Lord of Light, like now going forward. And it was just that like kind of like one-off moment of that, and then like Teddy and Gabe having their one night together, and that like spurning, like it totally makes sense that Teddy be like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
Like my heart is
Yeah,
broken.
for sure.
Yeah.
The TPK was
We gotta
wild.
talk about it.
That's never happened to. Obviously, it's never happened to me before. It was a
Do
little
we
panicking.
think that if Sal would have been on our side and we were fighting like the demon
100%.
or whatever, that we would have won?
You needed some magic on your side for sure.
Yeah.
You were lacking in magic control.
For sure,
Yeah.
we were.
Well, so brings another of my favorite moments is Eric, you accepting casting the spell from the book, which was great narratively. I love that. It like got me so excited. I wrote down like 5 paragraphs after you did that. And then the kind of redemption of their attacking Kresk, and you kind of sacrifice yourself to the devils, and which I loved. And I was like, okay, well, what happens if you sacrifice yourself to a devil? Like, you probably just die. But I don't want Sal to really die off screen. So yeah, that was like the impetus behind you playing as the bad guy, kind of.
Yeah, there were a couple sessions where I was not Sal and I was
Yeah.
Lorcan playing as Sal. That was really fun to do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was like four
switch.
sessions where I was Lorcan playing as Sal.
When was that? When did that happen?
I mean, the last
after the
4
demons
sessions.
take him.
After when I came back from the demons, I was not Sal anymore.
When you guys had your conversation in the
Oh,
house.
really?
Wow.
Yeah, I was not Sal.
Which is what we thought, but
Right.
it was never confirmed.
But like my stats changed as Sal. Like my charisma got really high. I was able to like lie. And
So
stuff.
is that battle that Gabe died? Were you Lorcan?
Technically I was Lorcan. Yeah, but
Yeah, he would've been
Eric
Lorcan.
was gone, but it was Lorcan.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which it makes even more sense because wasn't it a fireball from Sal
Yeah.
that
It made him fail a death saving throw or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oops.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's probably what I would have done. Like if.
Yeah, no,
like,
Matt said it, and like at first I was like, okay, Matt's saying this for the bit, but maybe Matt, you were smarter than I gave credit for, and you were like, oh no, he would do it because it's Lorcan.
I did, yeah, exactly.
There was a point where like Matt said, I forgot what item it was, but I needed that whatever item that we got from that giant thing.
Yeah.
Like its heart or whatever it was, and you were like, all right, Eric, you need this item like to complete your ritual. And as Sal, I was just like, yeah. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna hold on to this, and everybody was like, all right, cool, and I was like, all right, well, it's fucked. I guess we're just gonna fucking die because I'm gonna complete this as soon as I can.
My regret about that battle is like 5-fold. I think it was honestly
Fivefold.
I think it was a great session. Honestly, it was full of.
It was one of the most memorable sessions of D&D.
It was amazing. What was crazy about it is that my character had just died 2 sessions previous, and then we had a grace period, and then I come with this new character, whole new backstory, and he dies in the first session that he's being played.
Yeah.
Well, so obviously Eric, having as a DM, you make a player like actually play as the bad guy, and then the bad guy kills the party. It's like oh shit, doesn't feel good. I don't want it to be like, oh, Eric, it was your fault that the party died, but it kind of was.
It is a little bit. I'm trying to go back and find the message that you sent me about it. You told me like not to hold back, but my goal wasn't to kill him, but like don't hold punches is what like basically I think what you told me.
I think I also like failed astronomically. low odds to.
I mean, no, you didn't, because you rolled. You had to roll. You gave yourself so many opportunities to
I
just
know.
like roll above a 10, and we like
Yeah.
just could not do it.
Also, Michael wasn't there for that session. I think we called you after the
You did.
We did. Michael was.
It was really late. It was
Yeah.
like past 10, and I had like assumed that you guys were done.
No, you
And so
you were in an event earlier that day too.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
yeah.
were,
I had
like,
just
a little
gotten
out
back.
of it.
I had just gotten back from a work event, and it was like 10 at night, and I'm getting ready for bed, and I see that you guys are calling me, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess they're just like calling to catch me up, because like surely they're not still playing by now.
It was I think our longest session.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it had to have been.
I think other than the last session, maybe, because
Yeah.
we played to past 10:30 last.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, those only two, just because both of those were the longest ones, because I couldn't figure out a place to stop it.
No, those were great. I really the fight. Having to control Michael, and then Michael and I both getting teleported like 500 feet away down a hill. And Michael's spending the next like four rounds of combat sprinting to get back, just to like not like that's the only reason why you didn't die. I feel like was that you were your character was teleported out a window.
That's great.
So, like, into a tree. Like you had to climb down a tree and then run like we like measured it out. It was like 500 feet. Like you had to run back to get back.
That's why I left. Got all the stairs.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was like, yeah, you basically got to the door, saw us die, and then it was like, I gotta go. This is not gonna work for me.
I'm gonna hit it.
I did find the message from Matt. It says, "Don't be afraid to kill one of the characters if they are a direct threat to the ritual finishing, but also killing the characters isn't your main goal. I'll take the blame if it happens." That's what you said. If you feel apprehensive about killing a character, leaving them unconscious is a fine short-term goal, which is what I did. I think I left people unconscious. I don't think you guys just also failed some death saving throws.
No, to be honest, I actually think we ended the combat like we just kind of assumed and said that we would die. I think only one of us actually died like in the combat, and then one of us was unconscious, and Teddy was gone, and
yeah, that was crazy, but
that was intense.
It led to fun, and that's why I like that Kresk moments, because it was the last moment before the TBK, and because of the TBK, every small little moment there was kind of amplified, I think, in a fun way. Okay, well, you guys have any questions for me or for anyone else?
Yeah, why do you hate long rests?
The first like 25 sessions, I think we rested twice.
Yeah, it was really insane.
Which was awesome. I really liked it.
It was good, but like in that last stretch, I mean, like right before Gabe died, again, like I think there was like a time where I don't even know how many, because we had done the long rest, the werewolves died. We did like that fight. There was something else. I think there was like 2 more fights. And then we got to the village. We were like, great. Teddy was like, I'm going to take a shower because I'm exhausted. And then I remember you being like, and a cart comes up and people are getting out. And I was literally like, Matt, dude, I'm so tired.
That was conscious decision. Which I've never really like done it like that before, like combat so closely packed together, but it's a gothic horror campaign. I like the idea of being under rested and like being resource scarce. So
that was great. I liked it a lot.
We didn't go to a store once.
Yeah, I
know.
No,
there was like no shopping
in Barovia, which I personally loved. I don't really have any questions, but just like things that like stuck out to me. First of all, shout out to our guest stars. They did a great job. Kelsey is Esmeralda, and Adam is the Abbot. It was so good.
They're both great.
Loved both of those arcs, but also I was thinking about it. Genuinely, just like loved the beginning and the slow burn of everything, and all of us really feeling out each other's characters, like. The priest, the classic moments, the priest's son, and then coming across Teddy's graveyard and like our gravestone, and like
Gabe straight up decapitating that. old man.
Okay, that was much further into the campaign.
Yep.
And
that was good.
I think it makes sense that I was very confused by what to do. Okay,
No, it was a great decision and one of my favorite moments of the campaign. It was great.
I created a character that ended up only wanting redemption, and every single place that character sought that redemption made it worse. It made it worse every time. And so by that point, I was like, fine, I killed this guy. Is that what you want from me? And so I didn't know what else to do in that moment. I wasn't trying to be... I genuinely, if you go back and watch the episode, you can see how much I'm struggling with it and how much I'm like looking at Matt and I'm like, is this what's supposed to happen? Like, is this it?
So I will say, I used your backstories against you.
Oh, of
basically.
course, yeah, for sure.
So like, I was like, okay, you're. I literally in my notes, I'm like, a fallen ASMR looking for redemption. I'm going to make that as difficult as possible at every turn. That was like my goal with your character,
which makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So I put the opportunity in front, but and I remember you were like, is this what you want me to do? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't called the consequences before. I just wanted to see what you do.
For sure. Yeah.
And I just say I loved how much we fully could not have run into Piddlewick, and he became basically like the mascot of this campaign, and it was literally a dice roll.
He genuinely did, yeah.
It's so funny, like Matt wanting to like tip the scales even slightly, and then gives him a grenade in that last like fight, and we never see him throw another grenade. The like rest of, and like we even have him pick up other grenades, and it's like, does Piddlewick throw a grenade? Like, no, he shoots him with a dart.
Sometimes he takes one out, but then he puts it back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Piddlewick. That's a good character.
Probably my favorite NPC that I've ever come across.
How much of Piddlewick is in like? How much was it in the book, and how much did you add to it? I'm assuming you added.
I think a lot of it's Matt.
Well, Piddlewick in the book is like, a doll that doesn't talk. That's like mischievous. So that's not me. But the backstory with Proximus and
that was insane.
That was awesome.
So even like honestly, because the name Piddlewick, the fact that they named that puppet Piddlewick in the book, because that is a canon name, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So like everything that you said about him being like based off of a jester that used to be like, I was like, oh, that must be actual canon stuff, because that made that made so much sense.
Yes, yes, that is canon, but
it is. Oh, okay. I was trying to give you a compliment.
In the book, it is based off of a jester, but
everything you did with the like,
I can't remember the details of what the book says, but I changed it all.
Yeah.
Surroundings.
Matt, I guess one question I do have for you is, what is like one of, or a couple of, like, truly you didn't see that happening, like you didn't see us making that choice, you didn't see it, like what's one or two of those for you? Because as a GM, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Well, I tried to be open-minded about it, and I think I did a lot of like, okay, you have two choices. I'm just gonna tell you, you just have two choices. So I wasn't like surprised necessarily with the answers, because I was like, I don't know what they're gonna choose. I will say that Eric with the spell, I was for sure surprised. I didn't think it would happen like that, but
in my head, I didn't know. I didn't have any other choice.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I love it.
And then when I made that choice, the look on all of your faces was my favorite.
Very similar though. Like, no, I understand it. Like, looking at that from Eric's perspective, like you're surrounded by it. Are we talking about the first time you agreed?
Yeah.
I mean, you're surrounded by this cult completely by yourself.
We were very like low level at that point.
You were a max of a level 5 max.
Yeah.
Like
wizard with like, low HP.
Yeah, I would like, of course, like I would have. Yeah. I don't blame you for doing
the demons coming out. Like, yeah, I was like, I didn't know this was even a potential.
Yeah.
That like demons could appear because of something going on with Eric's character.
Yeah,
that was wild.
And I don't, like, as a cleric, I don't know how I feel about this. And now I'm like stuck with this as a person on my team in a way that I'm like, you're a ticking time bomb. And then I eventually am just like, I gotta stop worrying about you. And then you like ultimately are the reason why we all die in the first place.
Yeah,
Like,
for real.
Right.
I did have this. How early on after the TPK did you decide that Irina was just going to be dead? Was there ever a time that Ismark could have saved Irina?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you didn't have the TPK, then I think most of the campaign would have been like trying to save her.
Okay, yeah. But after the TPK,
after the TPK, I kind of decided on a 10-year time jump before I thought about Irina.
Yeah.
Because I just like.
And you were like, if it's been 10 years, that bitch dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Did you talk to Eric at all about Sal becoming a lich?
Oh, the lich?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He just told me like you're. Oh no, the lich. No, not at all.
Yeah. That was cool. That was
cool. Yeah.
Reveal. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Did you know, Zach, that you made Proximus?
No, God no. Yeah. When that was like a maybe, and then like that was like I was like, well, that's not it.
I would know.
Definitely not the
I'm game.
I think the thing that makes me the most like of this campaign is that Gabe and Teddy never had like a final, like not even let alone a life together, not even a final moment together.
Yeah,
like
not a goodbye.
Gabe died in the arms of Petra, saying that he was scared, and it's so
I think it's very
crushing.
Curse of Strahd.
It's so Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
It's so Curse of Strahd. That's why it's so soul crushing.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that's a bummer.
You've ran this twice now, Matt. This is your second time you've ran Curse of Strahd. What did you learn between the first and second? Like, what do you feel like you implemented?
Good question.
Thank you.
So yes, good question. So obviously, Curse of Strahd is like I think the most popular pre-written module D&D has for a good reason, because I think all of the kind of horror elements are really well done and evocative, but I think the thing that the book struggles with as written is how to implement it. So like I used basically all of like the core elements of the story, but I just kind of like switched them around a little bit better, I think. Like let's see, for example, the in the book with the hags that are selling the children's pies, they're hags that are selling pies that are filled with children parts to citizens of the town that are so addicting that when they can't run out of money, they sell the children so they can buy more, and it's like a cycle. Now that's such a good gothic horror premise. I love that so much. It's really creepy and well done. But the book, I think the way that the book implements it is, it's like you go into the village of Barovia and you see an old woman standing at the door of a house, and you see the old woman give the person a pie, but they give them a sack with something writhing inside. Like, I think that's a interesting visual in the moment, but it's much better that you guys were literally sitting in the windmill about to like eat dinner when someone stumbled upon a caged child.
Yes, that reveal was amazing. That was really, really cool.
The reveal that you had already eaten children. That was crazy. That was.
I just, as a player, if you, as a DM, if you give me something to eat or drink or like touch, I'm gonna do it
for sure.
time.
And I've learned that. Yeah, I wish, if we had like, first of all, as I'm saying this, I just want to say, sorry about my dog that's barking like crazy. We have yard work happening. If anybody in the chat is still watching and wants to ask a question, please do. If we had like a Kickstart thing that we were doing, or like if for some reason we needed stretch goals, I think a fun stretch goal would be to have the OG party back together, but as if they started at the house, like the actual first session, and like
Yeah.
do the haunted house session as our level 1 Gabe and Sal and Teddy
God.
and Petra characters. I know. I just feel like that would be fun to watch. I think.
Be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that and I'm glad that we did, because I had already done that before and I didn't really want to have to like be not meta about it, so I'm glad we skipped the house and just kind of like jumped right into Barovia. But I do think that would have been interesting to see that group tackle the house.
I agree. That'd be fun. Let's see. What are things that I learned? One thing that I learned from the last time is that, you know, I'm trying to make it as kind of bleak as possible. You know, it's supposed to be dour and kind of like, you know, soul crushing and anxiety inducing. So I was trying to lean into as much as possible, but I think an issue with that is that it's like too much. So my goal from this was to provide more like, you know, levity in some moments than I did in the first time.
I mean, that definitely happened.
Matt, we have a great question for you from the chat from someone who I assume is incredibly attractive, Kit Possible. And it says, Matt, do you think you could be a player in Strahd after running it twice? Ooh. And would you run it a third time?
Good question.
Good question.
I would definitely run it the third time. It's fun. I mean, I would be a player in it for sure. Obviously, like, you know, Sophie had some prior knowledge, but you did an amazing job of like, you know, not using that or whatever.
All right. Well, what I'm hearing is let's run it back, huh?
One more time, baby.
I mean, yeah, I would be a player. It would be. I mean, I know this module so intricately.
Yeah, you really do.
It would be.
You have to like holding it all in your head is such a challenge. But like going into any of these like moments blind, like as a DM, because it also is so well loved. It is really anxiety inducing to run this, and I'm really proud of you, Matt, for nailing this.
Thank you. Yes, there's a lot of kind of intricate lore that's like stuff that you should know right up top that's introduced on page 175 of the book or whatever. You know?
You'd have to just play like a really low intelligence character or a really high intelligence character where you just know everything.
Yeah, my character is meta.
Yeah. You could be meta Schwartzwalder.
Just play Strahd.
Yeah. Strahd's cousin, who like is just kind of really jealous of him.
Brad Schmod.
Yeah.
There is so many parts of it that is modular though. Like the things that you have to do kind of before you get to the castle is determined by the Tarokka cards that you get at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways, and I know that like you homebrewed quite a bit of this, Matt, and that's I think leads to me to like some of my questions of like what were your favorite like things that you pulled in that are not from the book.
Ooh.
Good question.
I would say the dark powers, like Lorcan, for example. Because
Lorcan wasn't in it at all.
No, not.
Oh, wow.
Wait, so like none of those like those big spirits, like this, like the vampire.
Vampire.
The lore of like vampire is there, and like when you go to the Amber Temple, they of course have all the sarcophagi with the different dark powers that are trapped inside. But the way the book does it is like, okay, vampire Lord Strahd and turn him into vampire, and all these other ones is like, oh, you can go up to this sarcophagus, and if you touch it, you make a saving throw. If you fail, you like can attack one extra time, but your alignment turns to chaotic evil. I'm like, this is stupid.
What?
That's a terrible mechanic and stupid.
Yeah.
And so it's not, it's not totally my idea to make these creatures more like present in the campaign. Like that's kind of a running theme within the Curse of Strahd community. But yeah, I was trying to find. I started the campaign with a kind of tempting dark power for each of your characters that I kind of created specifically for your character to tempt them to do evil.
It worked.
It did.
Yeah, I
did a lot of evil.
Yes, sorry.
I was gonna say, did we end up like you wrote Lorcan obviously as like an attachment to Eric right away. because that was the one that was tempting him. Was Besheba meant to be like my dark power ultimately?
No.
Yeah, that's what
Bathsheba I
was,
created for Gabe.
Oh.
Because Bathsheba so
Well, and
you made your
there was like a couple sessions where they did talk together, right? She was the Night Mother.
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That was
She was the Night Mother. Yeah.
Yeah, you the Fallen Asimar, the backstory was very, very similar in really fun ways to the Abbot.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I kind of changed the Abbot's backstory a little bit to kind of match yours in some way. But in this, I was like, oh, the Abbot has already been like corrupted by Bathsheba.
Cool.
And I was like, oh, it's like, do the same for the Gabe. And then, yeah, it just happened to go to Petra.
Yeah.
Lorcan. Well, yeah, you had your like devil summoning, and there's like Fiona Voctor and Velaki is like trying to summon devils, so I kind of tied those together, and
I was living in a devil cult. I
Yeah,
think I described it as a blood cult.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it was like, that was fun. And then Teddy, at first I had something in mind for later that I actually can't remember because we kind of never got to it. But my main thing was the reveal being a Vistani.
Yeah,
that fucked me up.
Yeah, of like, yeah, I like the idea of, oh, you can just leave if you want. You're the only person who has this ability.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, Michael, if Teddy wasn't a Vistani and everything had happened and the party had died the way they did, but he had to stay in Barovia, what do you think Teddy would have done?
Ooh. Gosh, I kind of feel like he would have kind of done the same thing, of just isolating himself, really feeling that Barovia as an entity doesn't deserve his help. And I think he probably just would have isolated and not really
sad, lonely life.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Matt, Gabe was on the stained glass window of the church when we went there. So was it always the plan that Gabe was this, I forget the name, Dusk Dawn, what was it?
Yes. Oh wait.
Dusky Boy.
Yeah, the Dawn something, I think.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so it was like, unbeknownst to Gabe, he was like the reincarnation of this like thing. Is that what you were going for?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Which this, reincarnation of this, once powerful being that also fell.
Yeah.
Like falling in the footsteps.
So he would have been a former dark power. Like Gabe was once a dark power.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great.
Knight
Could he be resurrected again?
Well,
I would have loved to see what would have happened if Gabe would have survived and made it to the temple and discovered that about himself and like what that would have meant.
Yeah,
that would have been really cool.
I had that moment planned in my head since the beginning.
Yeah.
It never happened.
What did it look like to you?
If
Gabe made it to the temple.
I don't know.
I would have become a level 20 character and be my dark power.
I honestly didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
Sophie?
Sophie?
Which group did Petra like more?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like it's obvious.
I feel like it's obvious too.
That's really tough because like Petra changes so much. Like from pre and post TPK, like I wasn't playing a different character, but my character.
How was that? I guess a better question is like, what was that dynamic like for you to play against? Of like, I'm with the same people, but they are like our characters' personality wise were all drastically different.
Very different. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it made the morning, the morning of the other characters feel so much more real because it was so different. Like, we didn't make copy paste characters. We didn't like just palette swap our characters. We were playing very different characters. And I had the same...
Different classes. All of us took a different class.
Yeah, I had the same stat block, but like was playing my character in a very different way.
Yeah.
And was meant to be like like an empty person and like tired but determined.
Yeah,
And
she was a different character in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was fun to like dip back into that and like be a little bit more old Petra and like not have to be so dour with the moments that I had and like some of the like comedic farces of being a character who's uncaring, like and like then tipping like into like blowing that horn and then like to try and get everybody back to
when we were lost in the
and like hitting that perfectly and being like, oh, that was pretty cool.
That's one of my favorite clips of this campaign.
But yeah, I think like the first group was like there was so much like awe and mystery to the world, so that like the feelings of playing in those different like groups was so different. And then there was this kind of like sense of like, oh, we failed and now we're just trying to like make the end result as good as possible. With very different characters, everybody playing a little bit of a sillier character than they were playing the first time, except for me, of being like even more the straight man like character, like in a lot of ways, while still being like there's still a lot of like japes like with like being like, okay, now I'm undead and I don't give a shit, like but everybody wrote a character to a prompt going into Curse of Strahd with a very different like flavors in mind than to write a character, okay, post TPK, wow gang, that was crazy, and like I've got a Revenant character, Proxy is a Frankenstein, Eric's playing a character that we've met before and is now inexplicably got a different
now he's Mark
accent.
Wahlberg.
Yeah, I think Ismark probably would have been more of a straight man character if Ismark didn't have a posse following him around. That was the most ridiculous characters I've ever met in my life. Yara and Yevgeny and Tom just came with Ismark, and they were ridiculous.
Before I was going to be Ismark, I was watching a lot of Sopranos, and I wanted to be like a Tony Soprano character that had like a gang.
And they were quite the gang. Quite the gang.
Yeah, that was playing those three characters was fun for me.
Yeah,
they were like kind of low level characters that at every moment I'm like going through each of them like, what's a stupid thing they could say in this moment?
I
can't believe they all survived.
All survived.
Specifically Tom. Oz really tried to kill him a couple of times.
Tom had like 5 rolls that would have killed him. And he survived all, like didn't fudge anything.
Wow.
Truly, like if Tom hadn't hit Strahd and that final battle, like
if it was another round,
Oz would not have been able to finish him off.
Damage that he had.
I mean, Ismark, I probably would have died. Yeah, that would have been much different.
Yeah, that would.
Tom saved the day.
Tom did save.
Really did.
He did.
One thing I did find interesting is that like a trope in D&D is that like immediately the characters are like family. And I feel like that was very much not this.
Yeah,
not us at all. We never had a name. We never had like a...
We never had
I tried so many times to get us to be called the Weirdos. So many times, and no one ever picked up on it.
Just didn't stick.
It's so funny because like I didn't realize that until you got to name a group the Weirdos, and I was like, oh, he's been trying to call us the Weirdos.
I didn't get it until right now.
Yeah. I was trying so hard. I was like, we're just a bunch of weirdos.
Well, we also like were together like in game time. We were together for way shorter than like campaign 3. We had been like.
Oh yeah,
we've literally had like over.
Now,
yeah. It's just like has taken a lot longer.
No, I actually really liked it. It was one of the. It was a bummer because it was kind of a challenge, right? Because like obviously I played a paladin because it is hard for me to play low charisma characters because I'm just so charismatic.
Yeah.
But honestly, jokes aside, I don't really ever play low charismatic characters, and so I was like, I'm gonna play a guy that everyone's going to fucking hate. And I did, and it sucked. And it wasn't fun to play a guy that everybody hated, and I hated it. And so I very slowly but surely tried to make him likable. And he really, I mean, honestly, wouldn't have been likable until after the credits have rolled.
Truly, watching you get legitimately upset at your own actions that drove people to like question
Yep.
you and like kind of I'm like, Zach's actually mad at us right now.
No, Zach's mad at him. Zach's mad at
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah. But it's so funny to like hear you talk about this. You both characters are probably the two most like outsider characters you've played in a campaign for especially for this amount of time because this is your first one that you've gone all the way through.
Yeah.
In a way that like Gabe often went a little rogue, a little maverick, like on his own, making some decisions, making some bold swings,
Literally.
swinging an axe into people's heads.
Yeah.
That being said, like there were some moments, and I think you did a good job of largely towing a line between like doing what your character independently would want to do and not distancing yourself so far from the rest of the group that it became a problem. There were
Yeah.
definitely consequences at
For
like
sure.
several points in times from your
Yeah.
actions that we had to like accept the fallout of as a group. But at no point in time did I feel as a player or a character to be like, wow, you've made a choice for all of us, and now like I'm mad at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never felt like you were going against the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Like I'll walk away from the Dusk Elf camp and say, fine, well I'm leaving and not do anything, but then I'm just gonna wait right outside the Dusk Elf camp. Yeah. I tried
It was
to-
never like we had to stop everything to address
Yeah.
like
Right.
it never was like a grabbing the steering wheel and
Yeah, you were still always willing to go with the group.
Things
Yeah.
definitely might have been different, like if your character had not died after killing a person.
Yeah.
The consequences of you dying kind of saved us from having to deal with the consequences of you being a murderer.
For sure. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I as Zach didn't know how to reconcile it because,
Yeah.
like we've talked about in this talkback, I didn't know if I was supposed to do that or not, and then very quickly after I did it, realized, oh, I've made a bad decision. And
Sal in that moment was like, "No, I've done worse. It's fine."
Well, and I think like we had an exit because it was like, okay, well, we can blame the abbot on this, but I still know as Petra that you killed somebody, and that is not okay.
yeah.
Kind of a thing.
For
And there
real,
were some
yeah.
times where I was like, oh, we're gonna fight, and I don't
Definitely
know
when
what
it came to more of a head. Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen if we have to. Like,
Well,
and I don't want to
honestly-
be that. I so didn't want to be that. Like, have that be like a player versus player, like actual combat moments. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I can take him.
Yeah. And after that battle, you definitely could have. But
Yeah.
but I do think that like it was a short moment, but similar to Teddy and Gabe, Petra and Gabe did finally have a moment in that house before they all went out to the carts and everything, where Gabe just kind of like apologized and was
Yeah.
like, I'm lost and I don't know what I'm doing. And Petra was like, I get it, but like you gotta talk to us. And like
Yeah.
I could see the future where it would have gotten better, and I think Gabe would
Truly.
have gotten the redemption that he wanted, but through the people around him rather than like through some like, extra planar entity. No.
I'll just say that I think the thing that I'm the most proud of this campaign is that it's obviously a tough. There's a lot of tough subject matter, and I was trying to lean into that, and like the feeling, Zach, of oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this, like out of character, and then after doing it, being like, oh, I made a terrible mistake. Like that's what I was hoping someone felt that.
Well, you're
I
welcome.
felt it a lot. Felt it a lot.
And that's a tough thing to do, to be as a DM, because
Yeah.
you're trying to facilitate a fun story and like be together with friends, and I don't want it's hard for me to be like, oh, people are like running in my game like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, why did I do that? But I think what I'm proud is that I think I gave a lot of like really tough decisions, and you made really fun narrative choices, and like what you said almost came to blows. But I think in a group that is not like this, I would have been scared of that, like terrified of that, of like, oh my god, the group's gonna come to blows, is this gonna be like ruinous for our friendship? But I mean, I trusted you all. You're
Yeah,
great.
if this was like the first game we have all played together,
Yeah.
it may have been an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you gave us a
Yes.
lot of like no-win situations where there wasn't like a good outcome, but it was still a lot of fun. It was
Yeah,
like-
well, and we all. The reason I love playing with CharmedPersons people is that we all get that there's a story that we're telling, and whereas we know that decisions we make might be like a bummer of a decision to make, we will make the bummer of a decision if it's the more interesting and fun story.
yeah,
decision.
nobody's trying to win the game.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not that. Yeah. It's not.
Exactly.
And we're like. It's not like a personal feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sophie
Yeah.
flat out could have killed my character, and then like it would have been like I would have been like, oh, great move, like you know what I mean? It would have been okay. Matt, you did a fantastic job. You know,
Seriously.
I know we've talked about it and we've given you your flowers, but just giving you them again because it was, like I said, my first campaign as a player that I've done all the way through, which was a lot of fun. And something, you know that you did a good job because I'm genuinely going to miss it and miss being these characters in this world. So thank you.
I mean, it's one of the most popular modules, but throughout the whole thing, you could feel the like Matt behind it. I
for
think.
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you guys. It was a lot of fun. I am going to miss it as well. I think that's it. That's all we got. Thank you all for playing Curse of
Give us
Strahd,
one
maybe.
last really awkward goodbye, man.
Okay. All right, everyone, and as always, I'll see you on the flip side.
Oof.
I'll see you on the flip side.
Michael,
He didn't say everyone say it. He didn't say everybody say it.
Michael,
He did not
it.
say that.
You gotta say it.
See you on the flip side.
Hey.
Hey.